still. You can see that I really am here with Jimmy Thomas. And Jimmy Thomas he used to perform with Ike and Tina Turner. So I'm going to be talking to this gentleman about so many different things on so many different levels, you know, but his time with Ike and Tina Turner, but also his time previous to that. And he was just talking about growing up in the deep South, as they say, and his experiences. So, Jimmy, let's continue the conversation.
Right.
Hopefully we can get good volume on this as well. Got this new gadget today. Right, so you were talking about your experiences, Jimmy, of growing up in the deep South. Can you just continue
yeah,
with that?
I mean, the part of the South I grew up in, a place called Osceola in Arkansas.
Speak up, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the place I grew up in is called Osceola, Arkansas. And where our town was, everything was segregated.
Wow.
You know, he went to a black school. He went to everything. I mean, that was the time before the civil rights movement, just before all that. And so I understand we were talking about anger and things like in our racial memories, etc. Although when you grew up in that stuff and you take it for granted, that's your situation that you're in. So however angry you might get, there's nothing you can do about that as an individual, because that's the world you're in.
When you say you can do nothing about that, do you mean the anger or the situation?
The anger or the situation, because it was at that time that was it. You know, sure, you could stand up for yourself as best you could, but the system was such until however you stand up, if you're lucky, you wouldn't get beat or lynched or something.
Yes.
But, you know, as black people, we coped. You know, we had our world that we lived in. We mingled among some white people. But the anger that we're talking about now, that sometimes we feel.
You feel?
Yeah. I think that anger, you have to channel that into another kind of energy. Not just creative energy, but an energy of understanding of how the world is really shaped and how you contribute that anger into something positive. Because if you're just angry and shouting all the time, you get nowhere. Because all you're going to meet is a negative.
Yeah.
Negative will attract negative. And so if you have to kind of, I hate the cliche of saying chill, but you have to chill out a bit. Understand what's going on, understand what you're feeling. Right? Once you understand why you're feeling the way you feel, and you're witnessing all of
say atrocities or challenges.
That surround you all the time. But you still have to try to understand. You can't understand anything if you're angry, because the anger makes you just want to react. Yes, yes. And just to react to a feeling, to an emotion, it can really be devastating to your long-term plan of trying to survive in any situation.
I like that word survive as well, because that's incredibly strong. Yeah. And for you, Jimmy, growing up in a segregated community, what were some of the things that you saw, and how did they influence you to become who you are? Or some of the things that might have shaped you, some of the things that you saw that might have shaped your decision that you're going to try and do things differently?
I can't really focus on any. I can't recall any particular thing, except that the white kids were better educated, they went to a better school, they drove better cars, they had everything better than we had. But what we had was so powerful they wanted to be like us.
Yes.
They wanted our music, they wanted everything we did, our dance, they wanted everything that we did. They thought that was the coolest thing. So the young white kids that I grew up around, there's no big deal as far as I'm better than you, or you know, you're lesser than me. It was like, wow, man, that's really the way you do that. But the only thing I think that I can compare, that I can say that, well, this is, I want to change this or that, was the opportunities, whether it be jobs or whatever. Like, cause like my old man, he was the kind of guy who turned his hand to anything. He was a crane operator. He was anything, and he could do pretty much anything. And he could build, he could do it. So he was like my role model.
Brilliant.
But I didn't just have one role model. There was loads of people around, all the black men around that was doing, and women.
Yeah.
Right? So it was a quite healthy situation I grew up in, although it was a segregated world. Had I not grew up in that, I wouldn't have the universal understanding that I do have now as far as being a world citizen. I've traveled, I've done all kind of things with other kind of people in all parts of the world, and it's really, really good. Brilliant. The only reason I can do that is because I never stopped wanting to learn, and I never stopped wanting to experience and to inspire if possible. Hopefully, you know, that's all you can do. You can hope that what you are and who you are and the way you approach things will inspire people around you, whether they're black, white, or whatever, young or old.
Yes.
That's all you can do. That's the best. And to just be real, basically. And don't be, if you're angry about something, just chill out for a minute. Count to 10 or whatever you gotta do, right?
I've learned to do that.
Yes, this is one of the main things in life. You learn that more than anything in it. Because if you don't do that, you won't get anywhere.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for that. Well, there's going to be more shortly because I'm going to delve into Jimmy's world of music. So this is Jimmy Thomas with Esther Austin. Well, on the sofa with yours truly, Esther. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back with Jimmy Thomas. Come this little way a bit so we can catch you. Yes. Brilliant. So I'm back with Jimmy Thomas. He's on the sofa with Jimmy. And Jimmy used to perform with Ike and Tina Turner back in the day. But also he's an artist in his own right. And it's been incredible having this conversation with him about life, about his journey, about his take on, his perception on his journey. Oh my gosh. It's sometimes that's, you know, live TV, as they say, live TV. So I usually ask my guests, Jimmy, in a nutshell, in a peanut shell, even in a coconut shell, who is Jimmy?
It's kind of hard for me to say who I am. I think it's one of those kind of questions of, I'm just me. It's hard for me to explain who I am because I don't really analyze myself that much. As you ask the question of who I am, I just am.
Yes, I just am.
Yes.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine because I guess we would get a sense of that beingness in terms of your journey and what you do. Yes.
Yeah, I suppose I'm the product of my journey. It's just so right to say it, like we all are. You can only be a product of your journey. You can have all kind of grand visions of who you are, but I don't think about it that way. I'm always in the now, never forgetting where I came from, but always trying to see the way clear for where I'm trying to get to. So I'm constantly working on new material, new experiences in life. etc.
Etc. Etc.
Yeah, etc. Yeah, it goes on. So I don't know. There's no summing up in one word that I can say this is who I am. It's only when the situation arises that I can say I'm not that.
Fantastic, fantastic. And Jimmy, you know, as you've gone on your journey, what have been some of the influences or influencers that have got you to where you are? And then we're going to explore exactly where you are, if that makes sense. Ooh, lots of noise. Fantastic.
Yeah. I think, well, it's been so many. I mean, it's been a long journey. I mean, I've met a lot of people. I think one of the main influences, obviously, would be Tina and Ike, because I came straight out of high school and joined them. Right? Albert King was a friend of my family, and he came to over to my town, which is where he came from as well, and took me to St. Louis to meet Ike. And it was people like that that had big influences, Lil Milton. Those people, they were very strong people. And they had to fight really hard to sustain their stature. And it wasn't easy. Like where I come up in the Deep South, but everything was segregated. Got thrown into this big wide world where, you know, traveling and the music and going on stage and performing with people who I idolized. Idolized. I mean, people like Little Richard.
Little Richard?
Oh, yeah, man.
What was that like? What was he like?
Fantastic.
He had an energy about him.
Oh, what an energy.
Wasn't he? Yes.
Larger than life. He was, honestly, him and Ike was very good friends. Through Ike, I met so many people like that, you know, like B.B. King, Marvin Gaye, all of the Motown, all of those people. But there's so many people. Just Juggy Murray, who was the head of Sue Records at the time when Ike and Tina had the first big national hit. And he also had an influence on me as a black man, owning a major record label in New York at the time. And I mean, I just didn't, I was just overwhelmed. With the admiration of these people, you know, because they were actually doing things that I'd never heard a black person was capable of doing.
Wow.
in a world like that, music world. It just wasn't heard of. Not where I came from.
Wow, brilliant. Okay, let's go through.
Yeah,
okay, here we are again.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Okay, so your journey with music, Jimmy, what was that like? Because I surmise that your journey with music was about inspiring, influencing, healing, doing something that you were passionate about, evolving, all those wonderful things. So when did your journey start with music? When did you realize, you know, you had it, the gift to sing, to perform?
I think it's not something that I made a decision to do. It was just in me. I suppose it was in my DNA. I don't know. But as far back as I can remember, as a little kid, my folks, they loved playing. They loved playing records, right? And I used to like listening to them. And I used to wonder how it happened. I was always intrigued by how did they get the voice, the instruments and things on that piece of plastic. And the sound come out so clear. So as a kid, I'd sing along to the records, and it's just something that I knew that's what I would do. I just always knew.
Or is it innate?
Yes, it was just there. It wasn't something I gave a conscious decision that I'm going to be a musician. I'm going to be a singer. It just happened. I just sort of grew into it. And I had people come to the house sometimes. Albert King, like I said, he was a friend of my family.
Who's that?
Albert King.
Okay.
Right, Albert was such a great guy. Anyway, and I listened to him play the guitar. And the guitar, he make it cry, make it, the way he bend the notes, the way he sang. He was a big guy. He was a real gentle giant. He was a huge guy. You know, about 6'9" or something, I don't know. But anyway, when he sang, his voice was so raspy and deep. And it's just like what I hear on the records. People be singing and playing those voices, and I praise like them. I did without any effort. I loved it so much, and so, and then when I get into high school, me and a few of my friends formed a group, a little high school group. There was a club in my town called the T99. T99. The T99 is where B.B. King, Roscoe Gordon, Bobby Blue Bland, all those great guys who come and play. And one night, Bobby Bland was there, and I was far too young to be in the club. But the guy who owned the club, he also was a kind of a frustrated musician.
Okay.
He played saxophone. Right? His name was MC Reba. He owned the club. And he had this rusty old sax. And he jammed with us young, so he let us come and play like on Sunday afternoon or something, you know, just because we were just young kids. But then he'd get his old sax out and he'd squeak, bop, honky squeak, we call it like. Honky squeak? Yeah. Bop, squeak, bop, squeak, you know. He tried to play like Big J McNeely or somebody, right? And Big J McNeely, he was the king of that stuff. Anyway, MC, and he booked all these great people to play in it. So this particular night, Bobby Bland was there. And MC told Bobby that I was there and who I was, that I was a local boy, and I loved his music. And Bobby Bland had a song out that time was really popular called I Don't Want No Woman.
I Don't Want No Woman.
Don't want no woman telling me what to do. That was the title. So
I don't want no woman telling me what to do.
Yeah. So Bobby's on stage and I'm on the side of the stage looking at Bobby. And I'm in awe because he's on this sharp suit and his band and everything. Man, this is Bobby Blue Bland. Jesus Christ, and there he is, and he's singing, I don't want no woman. Wow. And then Bobby said, and we got that. They called me Popeye. That was my nickname. So he said, and we got Popeyes in the audience, and a young boy here, local boy, and everybody, the crowd went crazy because everybody know who I was. Right?
Why Popeye, by the way?
I got no idea because I had tight eyes. So if you're short, they call you Slim. Okay. And if you're tall, they call you Shorty.
Right, okay.
That's the way the humor was around my town anyway. So they called me Popeye. Anyway, Bobby called me up on stage. And I thought, wow. And he put his arm around my shoulder. So come on, sing a verse. And he gave me the mic. And he went on, I don't want no woman. And he sung a line. He said, well, sing that again. Telling me what to do.
Wow.
Oh, it was hilarious. It was great. But that was the moment. That was my moment. That was the magic. I thought, wow. Man, I'm Blue playing me on stage. Oh. So that was one of them times that I knew, you know, the lightning bolt hit. And I knew, yeah.
This is what I want to do.
This is me. I'm comfortable. Yes. I feel great. And that band back there hitting, oh. God. And another magic moment, we were playing the Apollo Theater in New York.
Oh, yes.
And another one of my heroes was in the wings. I was on stage.
Who's the hero?
Brooke Benton. You ever heard of Brooke Benton?
No, but I have now.
Okay. Brooke Benton was one of the greatest singers and songwriters of our time. Check him out. Anyway, he had a song out called Bold Weevil. The Bold Weevil. And so this is like at the Apollo, this is the midnight show. And they had this really keen spotlight on me. I'm singing, I got on my sharp suit, singing Brooke Benton's song. And I can't see anything because that sharp spotlight. When it's like that, everything else is black. You can see nothing. You're just guessing if there's an audience. Like, well, you know there's an audience. You hear the noise. But I'm singing, the bold evil said to the farmer, blah, 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 blah. And then I hear Ike in the background laughing. He started laughing, yay, yay. I'm thinking, I'm trying to sing. I'm trying to keep cool. And so I carry on. Yay! I'm beginning to get a little bit annoyed. Why is he laughing? Then I thought, check the zip. It was all cool. So the next thing I knew, this big hand come around my shoulder. And it was Brooke Benton. Brooke Benton, I'm singing his song.
Wow.
At the Apollo, the midnight show. My God. And yeah, the bold evil said to the farmer, his big voice. And it was him.
How did you feel though? I mean,
I felt
what did you
like,
go through at that
I felt
moment
like,
in time?
I felt like, I don't know, I felt like I was in heaven. Suddenly, there's my hero. He's on stage with me, I'm singing his song. And he comes up and he's helping me sing his song.
Is that why Ike was laughing?
Yeah, because he knew I didn't know. Okay. And then the audience started to come up from the audience, this shouts and the scream, yeah, and the applause and stuff. Wow. And I thought, what am I doing? What's wrong? Because he was singing, he just slid out on the stage and done that. And that was another magic moment. Another magic moment from that was a time in Miami. In town was Sam Cooke.
Oh, I interviewed his daughter 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so Sam Cooke was in town, we were in town, and Little Willie John was in town. Little Willie John was another hell of a singer. My God, you know about him?
No.
Okay, check out Little Willie John. He was another role. He was the one that done the original Fever. Man, you know how much I love you. Yeah. Check it. He was the they covered his intro. Little Willie John and me and Tina and Ike and a couple of the girls, Ikeettes, some of our musicians, we had a night off. And Willie was staying at the same hotel as us and Sam Cooke. And Sam, oh yeah, you guys come on. Tonight, yeah. It was only a couple of blocks away, so we all turned up. And he was just getting ready to go to sing Bring It On Home to Me. And Sam Cooke, let me tell you, if you ever heard, you ain't heard nothing yet. I mean, you never heard nothing until you hear Sam to sing live. When you know about his records and stuff, you see this guy singing live, your skin just, you know, you just get goosebumps and your hair stands.
What was it? Because I've heard that before. What was it about Sam?
He was just magic.
Okay.
He had this gospel tradition, obviously.
Yes.
And Frank, was singing a couple of gospel group, the Soul Stirrers. And my God, he turned it out anytime. Anyway, he called us up and said, hey, we got an house tonight. We got Ike and Tina and the Ikeettes and then the other crews here. Come on up. Tina, Ike, y'all come up and help me sing this song. You know, Little Willie John, wow, Little Willie John, hey, you know. My God. So Tina, Ike, and Little Willie John. Myself, now what? I'm less than a worm. I'm lower than an insect, but I'm with them on stage, singing Sam Cooke's song, Bring It On Home to Me. My God, the passion I can't describe. Honestly, people were in tears I was in tears. Just from, I mean, these voices around me, and I'm trying to sing with them. Oh, you really good. And sound good. Just him and Willie John and Tina, they were just tearing it up.
But as you're talking, there's a sense of I'm being embraced amongst greatness.
We stand on the shoulders of giants. I keep saying that.
Right. Yes.
I mean, honestly, you know, like you asked me, who am I? Well, I'm all of that. I've been in the presence of some of the greatest of that time, of recorded modern records. And I can name so many times. People like Marvin Gaye, you know, there's so many that I can just say with magic moments for me on stage with them and singing with them.
And I guess from where you came from in this place of segregation, and obviously when you're, I'm just assuming that when you're coming from that place of being segregated, which means sometimes it affects your understanding of self, it affects your positioning of who you are in society, especially when you're being told you can't and you're not worthy of being, and then all of a sudden you're thrust into this space of being around other great artists who are probably going through the same thing in their background.
Oh yeah, that's what we had in common.
But then there's the strength in that, I would say, in that, from that vulnerable space, and I put that in inverted brackets, there's a power and a presence of unity in that space.
Yeah, you're right. But the only thing is we didn't feel vulnerable.
Okay.
Because most of us had been through all that segregation stuff. Most of us come from the South and all that. So we knew about that. But what we had was strength. And we were aware of that. Because don't forget, everybody, they loved us. They really, literally did love us on stage. And we performed, and people come to see you, whatever race they were from, you know, whatever culture, color. They were there because they dug what you were doing. And that in itself is power. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Even though the society, in certain sections of society, in certain parts of the country, you, back in the 60s anyway, before the whole freedom riders and civil rights came about, there were certain parts of the country, especially in the South, that you just didn't fraternize or associate black performers with the white patrons.
Yes.
Because it was all segregated. But even coming from that, we all had roots in that. Once we started to move around and go to the big cities and outside of the South, and things started to change, and everybody was welcome to go to any concert they wanted to. Right? But there was just something that you didn't feel vulnerability. You felt the power.
That's good.
Once you hit that stage, once you're on stage, you're in command.
Everything, yes.
You're in command. It doesn't matter. I mean, nobody could do what you did. When you watch James Brown, he walk on stage and with his swag and he mashed them potatoes and things. That dance. You get on that one leg and slide across and hit there. The arrogance.
Yes.
The sheer grace.
Yes. Yeah. But he knew he was an artist who really, it's interesting, who knew what he wanted.
Oh yeah.
I was going to say he knew who he was, but I would say he knew what he wanted.
Yeah.
And
he was aware of it.
That's right. He was very aware of the other stuff, but in the midst of that, he was aware of, this is what I want to do, and this is who I am when I'm doing what I know I'm good at, and nobody's going to take that away from me.
That's right, yes.
And that's where the power lies. And Jimmy, what was it like then moving forward as you moved around with Ike and Tina Turner? I mean, we all know, the stories around that, the abuse and all of that stuff. But for you personally, what was it like being with these two quite formidable individuals? I'm going to just leave it there.
Yeah, well, for me, personally, It was what it was. I mean, back in them days, I mean, people, they would get beat up sometimes by their own kind.
Yes, yeah.
You know, women would beat up women, men would beat up women, women would beat up men. People fought. People, it was another time. And
I love the way you put that.
yeah, so it's you can't really compare it the way things are now. You just can't. So therefore, even though you knew some things weren't right, but it was a way of life, and it wasn't just restricted to black people doing that.
Oh, yeah.
White people did it too. They was doing it probably more so. I mean, I didn't live among white people, but it happened a lot. But it wasn't like that all the time. Most of the time it was great fun, and it was great, when I say great fun, looking back at it, yes, it was fun, and I was young. I was right out of high school, traveling, you know, the girls, the money.
The chicks, you said it was.
Yeah. It's true, yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's it. As a young man, back in them times, that's what you wanted. You wanted your chicks, you wanted the money, the cars and stuff, the adoration. That's what mattered. When you lived in a time when all that other stuff that was going on, it went on, but hey, it didn't affect me. I never got into drugs and all that stuff.
Okay.
It didn't touch me. I was around people who did it a lot, you know, around pimps and whores and things. But hey, that was the way, that's the life a musician would live. And even today, you still get around gangsters and things. They the one who they own the clubs. They own the clubs that you played and you worked in. So you couldn't do anything about that. You were there to entertain.
Yeah. And you really sound like we're going to have to speak a bit.
Yeah.
You're going to really, so babies in the background, you know, everything. You know, Father Christmas will be walking in soon. But you also, when you talk, Jimmy, there's such a sense of enjoyment about what you did and your experience. I can still feel that in you.
There was such passion.
And there still is.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, what was so great about that time was like they used to have these package tours. You know, like a package tour, like maybe you'd have Martha and the Vandellas, Ike and Tina Turner, Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, Jerry Butler, you know, Curtis Mayfield, the Impressions. You'd have all these people together, Wilson Pickett, all on the same bill, doing a little tour. And that was all the time.
Yes.
And we'd be playing in theaters on the East Coast of the States, like the Howard Theater in Washington, D.C., the Apollo in New York, the Uptown in Philadelphia, all these theaters in that circuit, and all over the country, we'd have these package tours. So you be performing with all these different people. And then we had all these, there was always the friendliest of friendly situation. With friendly rivalry.
You had each other's backs.
Yes, but it was the rivalry as well as the performance, which was great, even within our own group. I mean, in the Ike and Tina review, I mean, Tina, myself, Ikeettes, Bobby John or Stacy Johnson or any other singers. Yeah, but within our group, we bragged to each other in the dressing room, kicking your ass tonight. It's my house tonight, right? I'm prettier than you. Right? Look, I'm sharper. The girls gonna love me. You're gonna come out after me tonight. I'm gonna kill them, right? But that's just the way it was.
Yes.
And that was beautiful. Musicians did the same. They would go cutting their heads, you know. Guy bring his horn out, and then the guy next to him play a solo. And hey, you know, he nodded, yeah, you okay? You dig this?
That was nice, but that's encouragement as well.
Yes,
isn't it?
yes.
It's encouragement.
That's how you learn your craft.
Yes.
Because if you ain't gonna perform at your at the highest that you can perform at, don't even bother going on stage. Because you will be put to shame. Because everybody wanted to shine.
Yes.
Everybody wanted to look good and be good.
And they knew what it took to be the best.
Yes.
To be the very best.
You couldn't mess around. If you didn't have it, don't even bother. Just leave it. Leave it to those who did, because it was great fun. That's all I can tell you.
Well, it's interesting because sort of moving forward, fast forwarding a bit, Jimmy, you are still performing, because how I met Jimmy actually was about a month ago. Brian McFadden, he used to be with Westlife. He was performing at Bosdale in Canary Wharf in London, and afterwards I managed to segue Brian for a hug, and he took me into the room where his manager and everybody was, and he goes, "This is a guy who you need to interview," and he introduced himself. I'm like, I need to get hold of you. And so how did you get to perform with Brian McFadden? Because it's, Brian McFadden, Jimmy Thomas. Brian McFadden, Jimmy Thomas, I think, but I know Brian McFadden has recently, he's moving into more of a soul groove, and he's doing a tribute to Otis Redding, and he's got some stuff coming up next year. And so I guess as Brian has evolved, because I asked Brian also, why soul? And he goes, well, he said something to the effect, what other genre of music speaks to and of the soul? I thought, wow. So how did you meet Brian? Because you still got the same joy and passion for music back then as you do now. Yeah,
well, I met Brian through, like I said, the promoter, Steve, rang me, like I'd done a lot of work with him. And he asked me if I would be interested in doing a guest spot with Brian's show. He had this soul thing he wanted to do. And he mentioned me to Brian. And Brian said, hey, yeah, you're great. Because he knew something about me. And so, yeah, it was great. And I was just, it's the first time I'd actually seen Brian perform. And man, he got it. He's good. He's really good at it, honestly.
Because he's coming from here, you can see
it's very soulful guy.
His eyes, and he's deep in the music.
He is so soulful.
And especially when he made a dedication to his girlfriend on stage. And it was almost like, I'm gonna cry.
Oh, you can feel that. You can feel it.
I was like, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. Maybe I'm gonna cry. No, I can't. But you felt that.
Yeah. He's genuine. Well, this is the thing. I mean, this is why I say sometimes people, to me, they make stupid statements when they talk about black and white performers. When they try to differentiate between soul, blues, or whatever. Passion is passion. It doesn't matter who it comes from. And if it touches you, it touches you. And it doesn't matter what genre of music it is either. That's another thing.
We spoke about that earlier.
About country music or whatever it is, classic, whatever it is. Right? If it touches you, hey, you gotta go with it. You just give in to it. Don't think about what somebody else, is it cool or not? And Brian is one of those guys. Man, I mean, listen, I knew Otis Redding was one of my favorites. I think I told you about that.
You did.
But to listen to Brian singing Otis songs, oh man, when you close your eyes, you almost see Otis doing. He had that same passion.
That depth, that richness.
And like we sing about blues. And people wrongly, they mistake blues for being just for the oppressed. Well, it originated from that, but it don't mean that you can't do the blues and have never been oppressed.
I guess it's a feeling, isn't it?
It's a feeling. That's what
it's
about. It's all about a feeling, a state of mind.
And
it's like being an actor, right? You can see somebody playing Batman or Superman, and you know a man can't fly.
I'm Catwoman, by the way.
Yes, but you can convince the audience that this guy is real. Or whatever part he's playing. A good actor will make you believe. And it's the same, it's like with music. You are an actor. I mean, I'm working on an album now. It will be out in about, hopefully, in about a couple of months' time.
Nice.
But every time I write a song, hey, I'm creating a character. it don't necessarily mean that my heart is broken, because I'm singing about, I mean, the guy with a broken heart. Oh, man, I feel so bad. No, I'm feeling it on top of the world. But at that point in time, you know, I mean,
you're in that moment with what you're creating.
I'm in character.
Yes.
And it's the same. It's like, if you are a good performer, doesn't mean that whatever kind of music that you're performing, you don't have to, you can't compare people who originated that music and say they ain't got no soul. If they got soul, and if it touches you, it's valid. Yes. That's what it's all about. Can you touch somebody else with what you're saying?
That's key. That's key. And sort of in winding down, just tell me a little bit more about the album that's coming out. You know, what was the inspiration around that, and what's its message?
Well, I've been working on it for quite a while, and it's taken me a long time. I'm doing it by myself, basically. I got a few other people that collaborate with, you know, on certain occasions. Some tracks I can't just handle by myself. I have to get some other guys in to do certain things. But I call the album title is Expose Yourself, right?
No, that's okay.
I know it. Look, I know the title sounds wrong.
No, I didn't say anything. It's you.
It sounds wrong, but it ain't. Believe me.
I do.
Okay. Expose yourself. What it just means, expose who you really are. Just be yourself. In other words.
That's what I thought it meant.
Yeah, that's all it is. Why are you laughing then?
You're laughing. Drink your coffee.
Every time I tell them, what's the name of your album, man? And I say, expose yourself. And they go, oh, that's a bit close to the bone. No, it ain't. It just means just be yourself. That's all it means.
So it means to, I guess,
just be real. Just be who you are. And so that's what the album is about. So all the tracks on the album, I write all my own stuff anyway, but it's how I feel about things, right? Whatever the song is about.
Yeah.
And it's real. It's just me.
And you're also going to be performing at Bosdale in Canary Wharf, is that correct?
Yes, I got 2 days there coming up in February.
In February?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And in finally winding down, what can you leave with people who see this interview? What can you inspire further into their lives? You know, if you want to do something, if you want to become somebody or something, what's that piece of information that you can share with them?
I think the best I can say is live in the now. Know where you're coming from, but you must know where you are right now. That way you can plan where you're trying to get to.
Yes.
But never lose yourself in yesterday or tomorrow. You must deal with right now. Because we all stand on the shoulders of giants, so we can remember times when a thing was good or bad. But it doesn't really, if you don't know what you are now, you can't deal with now. Then you can't make tomorrow better.
Love that. Love that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Jimmy Thomas. It's been a real privilege. Thank you so much for your time. And I know people will find some value, something in this to support you in your journey as you move forward. All right, thank you.
We got the